Hello all. I welcome you all to the fifth day, that is the last day of our workshop on clinical trial data analytics. I believe that this is not the end, but a new beginning altogether, a new chapter, a new career proposition, a new career avenue, and definitely some sort of addition to your knowledge in terms of clinical trial, in terms of data analytics, in terms of tools that I use in data analytics. And certainly today we are going to further add in terms of your resume preparation and interviewing skills. So I welcome you all. And also, I would like to thank all of you who are present today and who have been there for almost 4 days, in past 4 days, for taking your time out. And I certainly believe that this is just the beginning. So without wasting further time, I would like to simply move to our agenda. But before we start, I certainly believe that everyone is safe. Be safe. The scenario is just improving as the day progresses, as the time progresses. And I believe that we are going to overcome this challenging situation very soon. And we are going to be a part of this free and healthy world again. I certainly believe that during sessions, during our event, during past 4 days, or even today, you will be having some questions and you would be seeking answers to those questions. I would really appreciate if you can write all your questions because it's very difficult because it's a virtual session. Sometimes it becomes very difficult. It becomes challenging to answer each and every question because we have limitation in terms of time. So I would really appreciate that if you have any questions, please reach out to us. Please write to us at learning@kiteai.com. For the participants who have paid and who have actually registered themselves for getting a participation certificate, you will be getting a participation certificate. For all the attendees, we have the details. We have the data captured for them, and certainly we are going to issue the certificate in next 48 hours. You will be getting the certificates on your registered email ID. Apart from that, we have a good add-on that we are offering to our participants who have paid for a registration or for a participation certificate. They will be getting a chance to update their free profile, or they will be getting a profile creation link on their email ID on one of our new websites that is coming up, that is called a Skittle, which is a common platform for institutes, individuals, and industry at large. You will be getting a link to register and how to register there and how to go ahead in terms of your profile creation. You will be getting an email on your registered email ID for all the participants who have paid for the participation certificate. So you have been listening a lot. Rather, this event is conducted by ITI Technologies. So what exactly is ITI Technologies? I'm sure you must have had an opportunity to get introduced to ITI Technologies on the very first day when the session about clinical research and clinical trials was, it got kickstarted. But we are a knowledge, logic, and talent-based information technology company. Why we call ourselves a knowledge, logic, and talent-based companies? Because in Kite AI Technologies, we feel these are the three most important elements in any of the business. And these are the elements that are going to contribute to your success, to my success, to an individual success, or to the success of this entire nation and this world and this universe. We are based out of Pune. We have recently expanded ourselves in Navi Mumbai, Ahmedabad, and we are about to expand ourselves in Indore, that is in Madhya Pradesh. Okay, we cater to the analytical, digital marketing, and clinical domain solution needs of our clients. We offer knowledge based solutions in contract management and staffing as well. So we do not limit ourselves only in technical propositions or offerings. Rather, we believe that as a corporate, it is our responsibility to build talent, to shape talent, to develop talent, and make them industry ready, and finally getting them an opportunity in the industry. So that is what we are aiming through Kite AI Learning Initiative, that is a training initiative of Kite AI Technologies Private Limited. We are also significantly working on one of the terminologies that you have heard over a period of time, that is called as blockchain, and its use in terms of smart contracting in the legal aspect, that we are working on that. One of the prominent roles that ITI Technologies aims and rather playing a very significant role is we are helping startups to build their business, to establish their enterprise, and through the funding, we also guide them through our CRM solutions. So we are actually, in line with the government's vision. We are trying our level best. Rather, we are offering our customers propositions and services that will help them and help them build an enterprise and successfully run that enterprise, and in return adding to the economy of the nation. We have a training initiative at ITI Learning, and this particular session, the past 5 days, or rather the past 4 days, and today is the fifth day, this session is particularly carried out or being conducted or be conceptualized and delivered by Kite AI Learning. We are providing self-financed online classroom employability development programs. The reason I'm calling it an employability development program, because our all programs are focused in terms of creating employability, and they are not mere training programs. There are thousands of training programs, there are thousands of training institutes, and there are thousands of people who can train anything beyond their capacity. We focus one technology at a point of time. We back that technology through the practical experience and exposure, and that's how we create the industry ready professionals. And that is what we aim at. And therefore, Kite AI Learning has a totally different pedagogy if you compare in relation to or versus other training institutes. We are trying to bridge the gap between the companies. Companies need people, but they need people who can work from the very first day. We shape the talent, we take the talent, we bridge the talent, we actually transform them to be the industry level professionals, and finally contributing to the company's requirement or industry's requirement. Our programs are designed and delivered by industry expert and working professionals. You can get trained on the technology, you can get trained on other aspects, but the approach, how to solve a problem, how to approach a problem, how to logically identify a problem and find a desired solution for that, that is something that is going to come with the work experience. And if there is a working professional who is a part of the industry and that becomes your mentor, then certainly the overall learning environment shapes itself, and you learn that approach through his or her experience. Okay, so what is the agenda for today? The session for today will be for 120 minutes, that is almost 2 hours. I have already introduced you to Kite AI Technologies and Kite AI Learning. I had an opportunity, rather, I had an opportunity in the past also, and I have an opportunity today also to introduce you to Kite AI Pedagogy. We are going to talk about the programs that are being offered by Kite AI Learning. And then finally, we are going to talk about the interview and resume preparation. So guys, if you see, the 5 days event was conceptualized in such a way that in today's world, it is like you need to have a domain knowledge, you need to have a technical knowledge, and finally, you need to be able to sell yourself. And we have identified these three needs that for an individual, if the person has to, or an individual has to be successful, he should have good knowledge, he should have good skills, he should have good attitude, and rock bottom, good habits. So first day was all focusing about the domain. The second, third, and fourth day, we talked about the technical aspect of it, the tool you were working on, one of the analytical tool. And finally, today we are going to talk about packaging. We are going to talk about how to sell yourself. What are the no's and yeses while selling yourself? Because at the end of the day, the interview is all about highlighting your capabilities and commitment, and finally driving towards getting an offer from the employer. So today we are going to talk about some do's and don'ts about interview and resume preparation. Mahatma Gandhi ji said, true education must correspond to the surrounding circumstances or it is not a healthy growth. The reason I picked up this line today is because today everybody talks about education, but the education has its own challenges. And one of the biggest challenges that today it is not corresponding to the surrounding circumstances. Probably what we learn in colleges is something different what is required in the corporate. Probably what the appetite of learning has reduced over a period of time. The knowledge, the knowledge that is required in the industry and what is being taught in the college or the institute or any other place, there is a big gap. And therefore, we at Kite AI Learning took this initiative to bridge the gap between the corporate and the individual. And therefore, we are forming, or rather, we are bridging a triangle gap between industry, institute, and the individual. What is the basic problem? One of the biggest problem that I have come across in past 17 years, and most of the working professionals who would be a part of this particular workshop, and rather one of the few of the freshers who are a part of this workshop, they might have faced it's a basic chicken and egg problem. Okay, for getting a job you need experience, and for getting an experience you need a job. So which problem to cater first? Which problem comes first? The problem doesn't come first. The solution is right in front of you, and that is ITI learning. Because we are going to train, we are going to make you expose you to the practical approach, the practical assignments, and that's how you get the work experience. And finally, you have an opportunity to be a part of the corporate. So we are going to make you domain ready, because whatever you are, whoever you are, wherever you are from, whatever you have learned or wherever you want to go, domain is of most importance. For computer science professionals who belong to programming background, if they are going to work with one of the financial institutions, they have to have financial terminologies. They need to have an understanding about the financial terminologies. For pharma graduates who are going to be part of healthcare or clinical industry, they already have domain knowledge. What they need to upgrade themselves is to a technical expertise on some analytical or any of the tools that they would like to comprehend to. If someone belonging to biology background want to establish a career in clinical trial data analytics, certainly has to learn domain knowledge, because at the end of the day, and particularly when we are talking about data, data means information related to a particular study, related to a particular task, related to a particular activity that has taken place, some data which has been generated. And this data is basically, for understanding or working on this data, you need to understand the terminology of that particular industry. So we teach domain knowledge, we teach multiple tools. Why I'm saying multiple tools? One of the biggest reason why most of the people, they fail in getting a successful, or rather they fail to start a journey in corporate, is because they limit themselves to a particular tool. Either they learn too much, which is not required, or they learn too less, where there is no requirement. So we actually at ITI Learning try and teach you, rather try and expose you to the approach, to the tool, to the technology, which was used, that is history, which is being used, that is present, and which is going to be used, that is future. And that's the reason we call you future ready. We teach you industry standards. You might have heard about GCP. You might have heard about different standards, different regulatory agencies on the first day, while our manager of business operations, Gayatri, was taking this session on clinical research particularly. So similarly, when you do data analytics, one of the biggest difference between clinical trial data analytics and any other data analytics are the standards. In clinical trial data analytics, you have to follow standards. There is something called as CDISC SDTM ADAM standards. When you are actually dealing with the standards, when you are dealing with the data, you have to follow that particular procedure. Okay, so that is one. So these are the industry standards that we actually help you enable. We teach you, and we not only teach you, we rather make you work on those standards, apply the knowledge that you have taken in the classroom, and finally come up with a solution. We provide you work experience. We have an opportunity for paid internship, wherein we get live projects and you get an opportunity to work on those live projects. It's a mutual symbolism proposition. Industry interaction. We have a philosophy of TAIR. We call it a TAIR: train, interact, educate, and revise. Why? Because training should not be only limited to the bookish knowledge or something that you have done over 2 hours in a day. You should be able to interact, because whatever you have learned, you should know the application. Okay. Then we have unlimited revision. Revision and preparation are the two most important factors behind any successful individual that you have ever come across. So you need to revise. So you will have unlimited revision. Even today, if you see this 5 days workshop that we have conducted, it is absolutely free. It is absolutely free. It is going to be there on YouTube for you for the lifetime. Whenever you want to come back, you can come back and simply revise. Okay. We help you with global certification. What is global certification? I am going to say that, fine, you have done this much, this all you have learned, and you are ready for the industry. Not only that, you have an opportunity to get certified by the OEM as well. So we help you to get, be global certification ready, and we help you in achieving your milestone of getting a global certificate. We call it a learning democracy or a talent democracy. Anyone, everyone, anywhere, everywhere, anytime can actually access our programs, can learn with us, and there is no limitation. There are no geographical boundaries. And certainly, we call it a talent democracy at ITI Learning. Individual progress report. You have learned, but it is our responsibility to identify the gaps in your learning and make you or rather galvanize you and transform you into an industry level professional. And that is only possible through individual progress report. If you have any questions, if you have any queries, or rather if you have any doubt in your mind regarding your career, how to take a step further, what all things that you probably need some clarity, here are the contact details on your screen. We are called ITI Learning. We are a training initiative of ITI Technologies Private Limited. We can be reached on our website, that is www.iti.com. Our global number is 73855 and the email ID remains the same, that is learning@kiteai.com. So guys, if you see what has happened in the industry, I'll take you to at least, let's say, a couple of decades back. I still remember when CBS is called as core banking solution. When core banking solution was introduced in the banking industry, I still remember that there were most of the employees who were saying that there will be jobs, that there will be less job creation, people will be kicked out of the jobs, then there will be, the companies will not expand, the particularly SBI employees that I have seen. And there was some negativity about CBS's core banking solution. Core banking solution is basically IT that was introduced in banking. But what happened? You have seen how banking has grown in past 20 years. Okay. So the reason I'm giving this example is that wherever you see, whatever you do, wherever you feel, and whatever you want to do involves IT today. It involves technology. But the worst part of technology is that today, if I have to, use that technology for leisure through WhatsApp, through Facebook, through Instagram, okay, I certainly accept that technology open-handed. But when I accept the technical background people, if I am a graduate or a postgraduate that does not belong to a technical background, I do not accept technology when it is related to my career. I have a closed hand approach that, and I'll say, no. What I'll do by learning this software, it is not my cup of tea. It is not my job role. But my dear friends, the time has come that the technology is going to drive the jobs and the people have to drive the technology. And that's why there is a paradigm shift that has happened, and most of the jobs, they are not replacing jobs, they are complementing jobs. So if you know the tool or the software, you are fit for the job, because money, time, and energy, every institution, every company wants to save. And that is only possible if you have a process, if you have an architecture, if you have a streamlined processing at every step. And that is only possible through introducing softwares and technology. Okay. So you have heard a lot about analytics. You have heard a lot about clinical research. What is the purpose of analytics? A basic question that I always ask during my workshop. Why do we do analysis? It's data. You have data. Why should I worry about analyzing that data? So if you have ever seen, your PAN card is a number, your Aadhaar card is a number, your Facebook ID is a number, your Google account is a number. The world is a number. It starts with a number, it ends with a number. So guys, analysis is only done to derive useful insights from the heap of the information. Everywhere it's a number. So suppose if I have to pick someone, let's say if I have to pick someone with that particular PAN card doing this much, then what I want, I need to derive that information, right? So deriving useful insights from a heap of information is called as analytics. It is not only deriving the information, it is also representing the information. The certificates, the mark sheets that you get, it is what? It is representation of whatever you have done in your 4 years or 3 years of your graduation or post-graduation. What is it? It is representing information. So it's not only about deriving the information, it's also about representing the information. And today it is always betterly known as visualization, right? Selective and interpretive information. What information I want, I can actually extract that information from the heap of data that I have in front of me. And that is why analysis is done. Providing qualitative and quantitative insights. Qualitative and quantitative insights actually drive business. They drive our day-to-day business. And that is why analytics or analysis is very important. Analysis of the data is very important. An analytical approach is very important to actually keep the business running, to keep our daily livelihood running. We have basically, different types of analytics. There's descriptive analytics, there is diagnostic analytics, there is predictive analytics, prescriptive analytics. Descriptive analytics is, I'm sorry, I'm going to go bilingual, I'm going to speak a bit of Hindi. Okay. So descriptive analytics is कि कोहली ने 100 रन बनाए. Diagnostic analysis है कितने फोर्स, कितने सिक्सेस, कितने 2, कितने 3. Predictive analysis है 150 बनाने के लिए उसको क्या करना पड़ेगा जो कि वो 150 बना पाए. And prescriptive analytics is कि अगर उसको 150 बनाना है, then this is the approach that the person should have. So there are different type of analytics. You can pick the information, you can, heap of information, you can collect the information what you want. Based on that, उसमें से क्या क्या आपको चाहिए, that you can do it through diagnostic analysis. क्या करना चाहिए is through prescriptive, and कैसे करना चाहिए is through predictive. क्या होना चाहिए is through predictive, and कैसे करना चाहिए is through prescriptive analysis. So while we are talking about analytics, just to give a background, and I'm talking in a layman's language, I'm not going to go very deep in terms of technical talks. So there are basically two types of tools that are being used. So you might have, in past 3 days, you would have gone through one of the tools that are being used, that is SAS. There are other tools as well. Most of the people, I have seen a couple of questions that has come up. What is R? What is Python? What is big data? And all these. So guys, these are all our tools. These all are tools. Tools are basically of two types. They are open source and they are closed source. Open source tools are free. They have community support. And wherein closed source tools are licensed tools, you have to buy and they are very expensive. Okay. Why actually they are expensive? Because you get support, right? Just imagine, and that has happened to me. I am on a call. I'm on a big call, one of the most important call. And unfortunately, I'm one of the subscriber of one of the not so good telecom company. But because I have been using it for almost 12 years now, so I have some liking towards it. So I was on a call and simply the lines went down and I did not know whom to reach out because the lines were down. Just imagine you have spent near about $120 million on one of the analytics report that you want to create, and all of a sudden the system crashes. All of a sudden the software crashes and you don't know what to do, whom to reach out. So these are these are few of the reasons. And finally, security. Okay, you are working on one of the data. See, there was a time when gold was considered to be very important on this earth. Even today it is being considered. But there was a time that it was all about gold. Then came black gold. Black gold means crude oil. And then finally, the world talks about data. If you see, entire world is revolving around data. Entire world is loving the data. And entire world is fighting for the data, right? So these are two major types of tools that you will always come across, that you will ever come across. They are open source and closed source tools. Open source are basically free, community support oriented, and then closed source are the basically licensed tools, and they have support. They are secured. Okay, I'm not saying that open source are not secured, but in terms of security, closed source has an upper hand. Okay, a few of the licensed tools, if you see SAS, right? You see Tableau, you see Power BI. They are all closed source. Open source, you will come across R, you will come across even SPSS is a closed source, right? So you will come R, you will learn about, there are different Hadoop, Apache. These all are basically open source. So what is clinical trial data analytics? This is the 5th day, and now let's wrap up. We have been talking about clinical research. We have been talking about clinical trials. We have been talking about SAS Studio. We have been talking about LibName. We have been talking about so many things. So what basically is clinical trial data analytics? Bottom line, clinical research का जो भी data है, उसको analyze करके लेना is clinical trial data analytics. Analyzing the clinical research data, CTM are the people who actually, filter the data, who do the QA/QC of the data, and finally make it ready for the statistical programmers to do the analysis. Creating TLFs for the submission. Why we create TLFs? It's simple question. Why do we have to create TLF? First of all, why do you get a mark sheet? You can get your subjective questions also, or subjective answers that you have written over a period of 4 years. So TLF is important to save time. Number two, it is very easy. It's a homogeneous thing. It becomes very easy. For an example, if there are two people, one has got 60, one has got 70, I can make a marker. I want a person who has 70, right? Now, if you have written, if I go in terms of your subjective language that you have written or subjective answers that you have given in your papers, गाय का निबंध आपने भी लिखा, गाय का निबंध आपने भी लिखा, आपने भी दो सींग लिखे, उनने भी दो सींग लिखी, इनने भी एक पूंछ लिखी, आपने भी एक पूंछ लिखी. It becomes very difficult for me to shortlist, to give a conclusion, or to come to and to find an answer. So therefore, TLFs are the best way to actually come to a conclusion and make a decision. And therefore, the entire analysis is done for creating the TLFs in terms of clinical trial data analytics. You work on statistical analysis plan. What is statistical analysis plan? हमको क्या करना है, हमको क्या analyze करना है, that we should at least know, right? So basically that all is driven through statistical analysis plan. There are few terms that you might be feeling that you are not very much aware with, or that you somewhere it's not clicking. So please don't worry. Please understand we have limitation in terms of time, and we have limitation in terms of you understanding this online or virtually. So therefore, we have just tried to make it, or rather we have just tried to make it a layman approach, a very easy one. There is more to it, but that you will learn when you will like to develop your career in this particular field and would like to, would like to commit. So using clinical SAS is basically used in terms of analytical. Please understand, my friend, it is not mandatory to use clinical SAS, but it is preferable that people use SAS. The FDA, the federal agency, says that you can use any tool, any report that can be validated, and that is only possible through clinical SAS at this point of time. There is a possibility, the work is in progress, and very soon the industry has also started using R and Python, and that we are going to discuss gradually as we move ahead. Need to have good understanding of the domain. Please understand, if you are going to be a data analyst in, in one of the banks, and probably you have credit card data that you need to analyze, that who should be given a 5% discount on this Diwali, whom should we approach, whom should we run that particular campaign, then you need to understand what are credit cards, okay? Then how these credit cards disbursement is done. Then what are the for an example, if you're in a banking project, you should know that what is CRR, cash reserve ratio, what is CAR, capital adequacy ratio, what is NBFC. These are terminologies that you should understand because you are going to work on that data. Similarly, for any clinical trial data analytics, even if you are a computer science professional, or even if you belong to computer science, you belong to engineering, you belong to biology, you belong to sociology, you belong to psychology, you belong to any logic, anyone, the domain knowledge plays a very vital role in shaping your career and in taking you a step closer being industry ready. Okay, mostly you should understand the documents is our CRF's statistical plan and the study protocol. These are the documents that you will always refer if you're a clinical trial data analytics. Okay, and clinical data analytics is highly governed. So I'll give you a basic example. For an example, if you are working in a bank and you are analyzing something, if your analysis goes wrong and the campaign hits a totally different eye altogether, then what will happen? You will end up losing a customer. But if your analysis in clinical trial data analytics goes wrong, customer mar jayega. So that is the kind of difference between clinical trial data analytics and other data analytics, right? And therefore, clinical trial data analytics or clinical analytics is highly, highly, highly governed. Okay. So I was talking about tools used in clinical data analytics. If you see that since 2014, it was only R and SAS, and slowly Python has also started making some space out there since 2016. And a lot of work is being carried out. So today, if you ask me, gentlemen or guys, that what are the tools that I should primarily focus on to establish a career as a clinical trial data analyst, so I would say you should certainly have an understanding or have good knowledge on SAS. You should also have an understanding about R and Python, because that's where the future work is being developed and carried out, and a trial is being going on, and it's being tried in terms of analytical capabilities or capacities. And apart from that, domain knowledge. And not only that, not only learning these tools, but also you should know how to use these tools, this domain knowledge, and learn industry standards and come up with a report. That is what you need to learn. See, learning a software is easy. You can learn it for free. You can learn it by paying a lakh of rupees also. But what is difficult being industry ready is that you get that experience and exposure how to approach a problem, what to do, what not to do. You will write a program, you will say, ये तो इससे भी होता है. Yes, होता है. But क्या वो काम आता है? That is what you need to learn. Okay. So we have different programs in ITI. We only have training programs. The candidates who are interested in training, we teach multiple tools, we teach multiple technologies and standards, and so that we have clinical trial data analytics training programs. We have 9 months, 6 months programs for people who are interested in internship, who would like to apply what they have learned in the classroom and get work experience and work on the live projects. For them, these are the programs, CTDAX. And people who are interested in more of clinical research and operations, we have a program called as Acre Pro. I would not like to discuss more about the programs here because that's not the agenda for today. But if in case you are interested, you can certainly reach out to us. You have our contact numbers and you have our email IDs. You can certainly reach out to us. I just wish that if you want to establish a career, then there is, and if you want to make a career, then there is, you can simply, you can just make a call. It doesn't take much to give a call and to at least get the information, right? So these are the few upcoming batches that we have. I can skip that. We have a regular batch starting from 23rd December, and then we have a weekend batch starting from 27th December. So candidates who are working but still would like to upgrade themselves, you have an option to get, take a weekend batch on 27th. Candidates who still have time and would like to pursue this career, then you have a weekday batch that is starting from 23rd December. So guys, now finally hitting the agenda about interview preparation and resume writing techniques. So let's start with the basic. What is a CV? I know it sounds that this is a theoretical approach, but yeah, this is important. This is important. So curriculum limited the course of one's life. Please understand the word that is being used, the course. Okay, it's not the description of one's life, it's the course. What do you mean by course? Course is basically the journey on the heading, right? So if suppose I have to start my CV and I have 11 years or 17 years of work experience, the CV will talk about my experience. It will not talk about me. It will talk about me, but it will talk about me through my experience. The people will judge me from my experience that I have learned, from experience of mistakes that I have made and how I have overcome those mistakes. So one of the biggest suggestions, or rather one of the suggestions that I give, or rather a point I try to make in every webinar and workshop is, in CV, please do not see yourself through your own eyes. Okay, see yourself through the eyes of the person who is sitting in front of you. And it's difficult to imagine, but with practice, it will come. Okay, it's an outline of education and work. It's an outline of education and work, what you have learned and what you have worked. And finally, a marketing tool to sell yourself. A very practical, straightforward line. It is a marketing tool to sell yourself. Please understand, before you approaching the interviewer, it's your CV who reaches the interviewer or recruiter first. तो अच्छा कौन दिखना चाहिए, मैं कि CV? दोनों. But CV क्योंकि पहला impression देती है, it is very important that how you make it. We are going to cover that. What should be included in a CV? First of all, your contact details. Please make sure the contact details that you write. What is a contact detail? A contact detail can be a contact number. I would suggest that you should give two numbers, a contact number and an alternate contact number. Okay. I'm not saying that you should buy an alternate contact number, but because it is professional, sometimes it happens that one number is not reachable. I suggest that people should give two numbers, one primary number and the alternate contact number. A personal profile, if possible, just a synopsis of it. Employment history and work experience. Guys, this is where, the things go for a toss. Whenever we write employment history. I was working as an assistant manager in this, and this is what I have done. Please understand, that does not make a sense. I'll give you an example. A basketball player participated in state level basketball. Does that make sense? No, it does not make sense. But participated in state level basketball with a team of 5, where in school, because you need to quantify. What was it? You participated good. Similarly, you worked in this company very good, but what was your role? What was your responsibility? We write roles and responsibility, but what we forget is the achievement. You can write that. Try and quantify the employment history or work experience that you have. People who are working on few of the approaches, and be ready with the one of the problems that you have faced. I was watching a YouTube video recently, and one guy was saying, and it is very much in circulation nowadays, that there were 40, 50 top CEOs who were sitting in a conference, and this Maharaji went to that particular conference, and he always said that he asked these CEOs, see guys, you pay these people, you pay these management people, high executive management people, so much money, then what is the question that you ask? Because anything that you ask, they know it, right? You ask them because they are successful, and that's the reason they need to be hired. So what exactly you ask these people? So what these people, most of the people, they came up and they said that we ask only one question: tell me the problem that you faced and how did you overcome the problem. So similarly, it's good to have problem in your experience, but that should be, you should be able to tell in terms of your. I'm not saying that it's you should have a problem, but if there was a problem and if you have overcome, I think you should simply highlight it and you should make it a point of conversation while you are sitting there in front of the interview. Whatever the education and training that you have done, any skills or achievements. See, please understand skills and achievements. So let's talk about, for an example, if I'm going to a college of MBAs and I'm trying to hire marketing executives or market research or research, anyone, right? All the education that I get is all MBA HR, MBA, industrial, MBA marketing, MBA IT, MBA. Also, all are MBAs, right? In their respective, in their respective fields of expertise. So what differs? Then the skills and achievement differs, right? Because it's your education. Then the second point comes is extracurricular, because extracurricular is something that needs time, that needs dedication, that needs an additional extra approach. And that's why it's called as extracurricular. The people who can stretch, the people who can participate, the people who have multiple, they have they are multitaskers. So that is what skills and achievements, your interests and references if required. So these are the points that should be there in your CV, right? Please remember that whatever please resist using the numerics while you create an email ID or highlight an email ID, because sometimes it creates confusion, right? So if you use normal words, that is okay. Or if you use one or two numerics which are which are different, certainly it makes sense. So what makes a good CV? Please use a clear font. Please understand the larger font doesn't mean that you will have more clarity or there will be a clearer view. No, it will not be. It doesn't mean that. Rather, it means that you are being too loud, right? So use a clear font and a suitable font size. Use bold and larger font to highlight your name and headings. If you pick up simple, when you write a resume, you pick some other person's resume and simply उस पे नजर मार के देखिए and just see that what all points that you are able to take a glimpse from that particular CV. And it should not be more than 7 or 8 seconds. It should not be more than 7 or 8 seconds. And then you try and rephrase, then you try and rework on those points and put it in your resume. Good points. Okay. So, and have a sensible email address that we just discussed. Highlight your skills and achievements. That also we had a discussion on that. What is the importance of highlighting your skills and achievements, right? What you need not to do is that use fonts that are difficult to read. There are few italic, two curve, fonts that are very difficult to read. So it was limited to the sailors in 17th century, 18th century. It was good with them. They had all the time to read. Today, we don't have all the time to read. We have good, efficient means of writing. We have good, efficient ways of reading, and we have less time. So let's use the fonts which are very easily readable. Please do not have an unprofessional email address. I had that email address when I started my career, and this I tell you with my experience that please do not have it, because it makes no good. There is no point. Rather, it never contributes. Just list skills without providing evidence and examples, right? I just talked about that you should quantify whether it is your skills, whether it's your achievements, whether it's your work experience. So please quantify, right? Do something which 200 other people are not doing. For an example, I happened to interview one of the data visualization experts, and we were hiring. One of my friends' company were hiring, and he came up. He had very good, very good way of presenting himself. I made up my mind, rather we together we made up a mind of hiring him because he simply visualized his entire CV using the tool Power BI. He showed that whatever I know, I'm the master of that. And his CV was not, it was not full of words. It was all full of charts and diagrams. So whatever he knew, he tried to put it up there so that he made sure that before going for the interview, he's sending the right message that, boss, I'm the expert of what I do. So please be serious about my profile. And that is what we should aim for, right? जीवन एक सत्य कथा नहीं लिखना है हमको, राइट? इट डजंट मैटर क्या हुआ, क्या नहीं हुआ, कैसे हुआ, कोई इंटरेस्टेड नहीं है. Please do not have a CV of more than 2 pages. 2 pages are more than enough. चावल के दाने पे हम नाम लिखवा सकते हैं, उतना छोटा लिखने की जरूरत नहीं है, but please do not have more than 2 pages of the CV, right? Target your CV towards the job you are applying for, right? I'll tell you. See, what we do, I'll tell you, from my early MBA days, whenever I used to apply, I used to send the same CV. So if there is an opening for market research, I used to send the same CV. If there is a finance, I used to send the same CV. If there is even for HR staffing, if there was a profile, then I used to send the same CV. Please don't do that. Customize, think about it, think about the job role, think about your, what are your strengths, what you don't know and what you have to learn. Think about all this and be serious about that job, because the more serious you are about that particular job, the serious the recruiter will be. And I don't know, there is some energy in this world that it will bring both the things closer. So please target the CV as per the job that you are applying for. Do not have, and most of the worst thing I have, what people do, if they find a email ID that we are recruiting, fine, they will copy that email ID, they will just attach the CV and send. No hi, no hello, I have sent the CV, agar tumko zarurat hai to le lo. That's not the point, right? So please don't do that. If you want to apply professionally. The more respect you will give, the more respect you will get. Okay. Use bullet points to make the CV easier to read. Please use bullet points to make this CV easier to read. Why I'm saying bullet points? Because it's human brain. It's inbuilt that whatever is being written bold, whatever is being written something different, not in the streamlining or not very symmetrical, then aankhein automatically us pe jayenge, right? So please use these tactics, use bullet points to make the CV easier to read. Check spelling and grammar. It's a big no-no. I have seen people making mistakes on receipt. I have seen people making mistakes in the word received an award, right? Please don't do that. Check spelling and grammar. There are different tools available, right? See, that's the point I'm trying to make, because before you come for an interview, it's the CV that the recruiter has in his or her hand, and the entire agenda, the entire background of your interview, if you are if they are able to, if you suit their requirements, it's set right there in, with that CV. So please make sure, and this is very basic. Spelling and grammar is not like you have to climb Mount Everest. No, that's not a very big task you have to do. You just have to check spelling and grammars, and that is minimum, very basic, that can be done. So it's a big no-no. Please, there are different tools. There's a tool called as Grammarly. There are spell checkers. There are different tools that you can use, and you can actually rectify the grammatical and spelling errors that you have made. Give relevant dates. I have seen resume, one of the recent resume that I have seen yesterday, 2018 का resume मेरे को 2020 में भेजा है. References भी जो पुराने भेजे उसमें से नंबर नहीं चलता है. So please don't do that. It shows your seriousness towards the job that you are applying for. देखिए, हम एहसान नहीं कर रहे हैं job apply करके, है ना? So let's not act like that. Leave lots of white spaces. ज्यादा भी clarity अच्छी नहीं है ना? So please do not leave lots of white spaces. Include your primary school. जरूरत नहीं है मैंने 5th में ये पढ़ा था, मैंने 8th में ये पढ़ा था. नॉट रिक्वायर्ड बॉस. प्लीज डोंट डू दैट. अगर आपको इतना ही पसंद है तो फिर बाद में बात करेंगे, but please do not highlight that in your profile because it is going to occupy unnecessary space. There is no point using highlighting that information. Please do not waffle, jump around, and send a CV without a covering letter. Guys, this is one of the documents that I have seen most of the people miss, or rather, they do not work on. That is a covering letter. And I would suggest everyone to please make this document. So if you have a 2-page CV, the first page can be your covering letter. Okay. What should I include in a covering letter? Why are you writing? Covering letter is a kind of a letter that says, the resume says all about you. The covering letter says that why you are a right fit for that particular job. So based on your skills, strengths, expertise, why you think that they should hire you. So 30% काम covering letter करता है, right? So why are you writing? Why you are writing? Why you want a job? Why you are interested in the company? Just an example, suppose if I have to hire someone into, let's say, into analytics, and I come to a different college altogether, and I sit there taking interview, and everyone has a similar resume, it becomes very difficult for me. But if I see a covering letter, at least I spend 2 minutes on reading that covering letter. So जिन लोगों को 30 सेकंड का resume view करने का time मिल रहा था, on this particular candidate, I'm spending at least 2 minutes because I'm reading the covering letter, right? So please be very serious and try and add this document to your, try and add this page to your profile. That is a covering letter, the topmost page. Why you are interested in the company? Sell your main skills and achievements relevant to the role, right? You have to sell yourself. And what you would like to happen next, what you want to do next. Do you want to find some time? Do you want to reach out to them? How should we do that? So what makes a good covering letter? Find out the name of the person you need to write. You are in the era where the information is easily available to the people who want to search or who want that information, right? So if you are applying in a particular company, you have got a mail, you can simply go to LinkedIn, look for the person, and you can simply put a salutation, find out the name of the person, and you can write. What happens? It shows the seriousness, it shows the courage, and it also shows an attempt to be a step closer. And please do that. It's possible. It's very much doable. Research the employer and show that you know something about them. I was applying for one of the banks, and I'm telling you with this, with my own experience. I applied for one of the banks. I'm not saying I. The reason I'm putting my example is because those things have worked for me, and that's the reason I want to simply put it in front of you, right? So I applied for a bank and applied for a middle level position, and I seriously, at that point of time, I did not have very strong points in terms of my personal achievements, in terms of my personal capabilities, because I was too young at that point of time. Probably in terms of their language, I was too young. But one thing that I did correct was I did a complete research of that particular bank. What are their NPAs, the non-performing assets? What are their rankings? I did the homework correct. And trust me, the entire interview, I talked about the NPAs and what is happening, what is not happening, who is the competition, what is not happening. Nobody even looked at what graduation, what post-graduation, what achievements, nothing. So 80% of your interview depends on your preparation, what you have done. If you can anticipate the question, if you are ready for those questions, you can certainly guide your interview in your way. Okay. So please research the employer and show that you know something about them. Highlight your key skills, experience related to the job, good communication skills. Very good. You should have good communication skills, but it's not a key skill. It's a default. Problem solver. Boss, if you want to be in a company, you have to be a problem solver. Oh, good team player. Very good. If you want to survive in a company and have 30 people working along with you, you need to be a good team player. So please don't pick skills and experience that you should have by default, right? Because you have come so far because you had those skills. Now what is something that you have to find and you have to highlight. Just don't repeat what you have put in your CV. That is what most of the people do. जो CV में लिखा है वही उठा के covering letter में लिख दिया. Please, नहीं. Don't do that. Right? There you are selling yourself, and CV is going to be a marketing of you. Okay? Write more than a page. No, don't write more than a page. One page is enough. Rather, one paragraph is enough for the covering letter. Use the sample cover letters for different jobs and companies. As we have different CVs for different roles, please ensure that you have different cover letters for different. See, attributes can be same, right? I understand. Attributes won't change. but probably the liking, probably the desire backed up by ability is something that can keep on changing in terms of jobs, right? Send a letter containing spelling mistakes, no spelling mistakes, no grammatical errors. Please ensure you do not do that. You don't have that. Now let's coming to uh, the day, the D-Day, the interview day, right? So, guys, before knowing the employer or the potential employer, it is very important to know yourself. If you know that you wake up late and you have an interview at 9 o'clock, so please don't wake up late. If you know that there is a traffic jam that happens at the very next corner, then please do plan properly. Because with my experience, I have seen that whenever I call an interviewer who is delayed or who is running late, they are always on the road. Ma'am, I'm on my way. I'm just reaching another 5 minutes. If you knew that there has to be a traffic and this is your D-Day, right? So first of all, you should know about yourself. Let's start with habits. You know of your habits. Please plan your day ahead well in advance. Please plan your day, plan your things, because there are few things which are not in your control, but 80% of the things are in your control. You know that there is a traffic, then plan your time accordingly. You know that there is a cab strike, then you take and you know that you do not have iron man, you don't have press wala, iron wala shop open today. You can get your a professional suit, or you can have your whatever jo bhi wardrobe hai, you can get ready a day in advance. So know about yourself, about your habits. Then also know about your attitude. What is your attitude? Some people, they are a bit aggressive. Some people, they are a bit submissive. Know your attitude and fine tune your attitude with the day, because probably your attitude matters a lot, right? So it's called the basic. It starts with habit, then it's skills, then it's attitude, and then it's knowledge. So knowledge आएगा, उसका भी number आएगा, but basic starts with habit. Okay, so and attitude. Know about the job role. It is very important. I have seen that people apply for a job. When they come and sit for the interview, the interviewer says, "Who asked you to come for this job?" And the जो बंदा आया है वो बोलता है, "I said that I am not fit for this job." She still said that come for the interview. Not that. Let's not get into that. One of the biggest challenges that we always have, as rather I would call it to myself, or we Indians have, we do not ask questions. We are too shy to ask questions. Let's not do that. Let's ask questions. Fine, it's up to the other person whether they want to give it or not. But let's ask questions, and that will bring clarity in terms of job role, in terms of your in terms of your job opportunity, in terms of your job progression, right? In terms of your job relocation, right? Location kya hoga and all that. Know about the company. Please do your homework and learn about the company. I'm not telling that you should, have the entire balance sheet ka study done. No, that is not required. But please know about the company, what they are doing. It's good now when you are going and sitting in front of the interviewer, and if you know that company better than the person who is sitting in front of you is already an employee of the company, you have a plus point. Play with. Look for the references in the company. This very much works. If you have a reference in the company, please put a word forward and try and see if they can help with their experience, with their connects. They can give you some heads up. So please do that. Work out on finance. That is generally, I have I have seen this, and through my practical experience, I have seen that most of the people, they want to appear for the interview, and in early stages, let's say during graduation, immediately after graduation, I do not have money to have to book tickets, and that's the reason I cannot attend tomorrow's interview. Opportunity doesn't knocks the door twice. Please be ready. If you know that you are in the phase of your career wherein you need a job or you have to have a job change, please work out your finance. Okay. You should have 72 days of funding or of your expense as a saving. That is a thumb rule. Know the route and plan in advance if it is in the different city. That has happened to me. I went to Mumbai for an interview. I reached to a different part of the interview, a part of the city for the interview. Finally, the interview did not happen. I went to my friend's place, finally stayed there for a couple of days. Again, the interview did not happen, and I came back. So that's not done. You should know the route and plan in advance if it's in a different city altogether. So, guys, interview is not that big thing. Okay, the biggest part is you don't know the interviewer doesn't know. Right? So sit back, chill, relax. I'm saying sit back. I'm not saying have a laid back approach. Sit back, chill, relax. The best part is you don't know the interviewer. And the better part, rather the best of the best part is interviewer doesn't know you. तो आज क्या होगा वो देखा जाएगा. And do not be submissive. Ask questions. You have made to the interview. If you are sitting in front of the interviewer, or if you are there on that particular day, that means आप में कुछ है, तभी आप वहां तक पहुंचे. अब इसके आगे आप अपने आप को कैसे बेचते हैं, किस तरीके से आगे जाते हैं, दैट इज अप टू यू, राइट? बट be sure that you have something in you, and that's the reason you are sitting there at that particular place and you are supposed to get interviewed. Okay, first impression at interview, appearance is very important, because जब तक आपके मुंह से कुछ नहीं निकल रहा है, appearance is the only sole key you have. Good eye contact. See, good eye contact is, I have talked to so many people and everyone says that the two major things is how you enter the room. Even if you go for, when you go for an interview in different competitive examinations, in you, even for administrative services, there also, these are the two basics that they will see: how you walk, how you talk, and how what you see is something. Okay, so appearance is important. A good eye contact is must. I'm saying good eye contact. I'm not saying to stare. ये नहीं कि आंखें एकदम देखे जा रहे. No, that is not right. But good eye contact जितना required है, and a firm handshake. Firm handshake नहीं कि दूसरे का अपन पहलवान है, दूसरे का हाथ तोड़ दिया. That is not required. A good firm handshake will show that you are confident and you are ready. Introduce yourself. Introduction is a key. Okay. I generally ask candidates to introduce yourself so that I can have a look at their profile completely. I can see other things also in their CV. So introduction is something, a basic starts, break your introduction. We will cover this particular point. People feel that this is the most important part, but the best part is that you know yourself better. दूसरे वाले को नहीं पता आप क्या हो. So be confident and prepare a good 30 seconds या 45 seconds का bite on your self introduction. And do practice. Do practice. First impression, address items on your resume. He will address items on your, ask about behavioral skills that you have. And please do not be personal. Personal se lena dena nahi hai. It's not required. So whatever is in their resume, you need to prepare about that, in and around that, and about your behavior and skills that you have. That's it. Not getting too much personal. What are the different behavioral questions? Previous behavior predicts future behavior. Why do we ask behavioral questions? Because whatever you have done, that's the reason I say that please quantify if you have any experience in the past, because that is going to set the tone right for this particular interview. Recruiters ask for examples that demonstrate your level of skill with a behavior that is important to the firm, right? For an example, we talked about participated in a basketball championship during my college level. So what does that highlight? A basketball team is of 5 people, right? Five players play at a time. So if I say that participated in a basketball, inter-college basketball tournament, that becomes very tic-tac. But if I say I, along with 5 people, participated in inter-basketball tournament and work towards reaching the semi-finals or something like that, whatever, if you can quantify, then what it shows that you have a teamwork, right? You're a team player. So always try and quantify and quantify and somewhere transform your words so that they can give an indirect implication, right? They can give some message. Please do that. So how to assess behavioral interview? This is if suppose somebody asks you a behavioral questions that how did you overcome this problem, then this is the best way of giving a solution. That what was the situation that you were in, what was the task that was you were given in, what were the actions that you took, and what was the result that happened. So basketball, it was an inter-college tournament, started raining. The task was we had to score 30 points. The action was we changed our game man to man. And then what was the result? We lost by 3 points. It's okay. You lost. That's fine. But at least you changed the approach. You faced the problem and you took the action. That's okay. No problem. So please remember this approach to overcome the behavioral interviews whenever you get stuck in. So please remember the situation. What was the task that was delegated? What was the action that you took? And what was the result or the outcome that happened? And please Whenever you write your experience or whenever you highlight or quantify your experience, please keep this star in your mind and write the words or quantify the experience. Please be straight while answering. Stop beating around the bush and quantify if possible. This is an example. The interviewer asks, give me an example of your ability to use analytical skills. Please remember, the agenda is ability to use analytical skills. What the person is answering is, I am good at Excel and have created several spreadsheets to improve processes. What is wrong with this statement? The recruiter wants to see the ability, and what the person who is sitting in front of the interview is replying is his capability, or rather what he knows or what he has done, and kind of something, a very generic kind of answer. So please don't do that. That's the reason I'm asking that you should quantify. If I would have been, or rather, if someone person, I have created spreadsheets on let's say Power BI or SAS, wherein I was working on a project wherein I was working on PLR, reduced so much. This was the problem. So because it opens up the conversation, right? Apart from your resume, it opens up the entire work conversation in front of you, and there you have a chance to get to simply play around, because that's your forte, right? So please quantify whatever experience you have. Even in terms, if you're a fresh graduate or a college graduate, you have a lot to quantify. I dance very good. You dance for what? You dance for fun. You dance to win. What you do? So you have a lot to quantify, and please quantify. So in the last statement, the person was missing the situation or task. He did not mention any situation or task because we learned the star approach. The action was missing and the results are vague. I created sheets, boss. You go and look for those sheets. I created sheets. Please don't have a vague approach, right? Then certainly, if you have a vague approach, then interviewer will certainly have a follow-up question on that, right? Prepare yourself for the question. I told you, if you prepare yourself first, then certainly you can prepare the entire interview, how you want to actually take this interview and where this interview should land. Whether it should be whether it should be successful or not, it all depends on the interview, right? So understand what skills the company considers critical to success, to be a success there. So please understand the skills required. If there is a requirement for analytics guy, then what tool the company is working, what is a competitive tool for that, which is easier, what is the size, can you bring more people on board, do they have a larger requirement, do you have enough connects? So this is something that you can simply work on, right? Write out loud for each skill on your resume. But when I'm saying skill, please do not write confident, right? Please do not write team player. Skill means skill that is backed up by will, and you have expertise in that. If it's your communication, excellent communication, please mention excellent communication and quantify and write, right? So some common areas covered in behavioral interviews are leadership, teamwork, the initiative. One of the biggest points that most of the people, even the people who are working and they go through their, their increment cycles, they have one of the points that is called as initiative. And most of the people, they say, initiative, hum kya initiative karenge yahan pe? But this is something that you should certainly work on. Analytical ability, creative and innovation. Innovation is another point. Dare to innovate. Problem solving skills, and customers and client relations. These are few of the behavioral interviews that certainly you will be, you will be exposed to. And some other common questions that you should prepare for is, tell me about yourself. I told you, or walk me through your resume, right? So tell me something about yourself. It is about yourself. आप अपने आप को बेहतर जानते हैं, आप अपने हिसाब से बताइए. Please tell them about your name, what are your hobbies, what is your educational background, about your work experience, and something small. Do we include family? No, not required. जब तक पूछा ना जाए, not required. Please tell them about yourself, and please write your introduction properly. ठीक है? Please do that. Why did you decide to get to Kelly School of Business or something? Let's say example. Tell me about tell me about a time when you had an opportunity to lead others. What did you learn from it? So leadership questions. कभी आपको opportunity मिली to lead others? What did you learn from it? Because if there was an opportunity first time given to you, certainly you have made some errors, and through those errors you would have had some learning. So please be ready with that. What are your strengths and weakness? Please work on that. Make those strengths and weakness that make sense. And whenever you write a weakness, please work towards that weakness. It's good to know the weakness, but it's better to work on that weakness and turn it into one of your strengths. Please do that. What achievement are you most proud of? You should be. Uh, for me, getting a Helpage India silver medal when I was 12 years old is a big achievement for me. It will always remain. Although if I do anything in my life, but that will remain an achievement because I have notion for that. I have reasons for that. And that you should be able to communicate. It's your achievement and they want to know your achievement. It depends on them what they want to consider a big achievement or a small achievement. But for you, your achievements for yourself can be different. But it should come with a conviction. What do you want to work for this company? These are a few of the major questions that you should always prepare for. Anyways, we are going to share these today's deck with you on your email IDs, and you can certainly go through it once more. Few other questions. Tell me something about yourself. So walk me through your resume. This is the first question. Please tie your story to their business needs. Please customize your story to your business needs. For an example, if when I was exploring a career in in staffing business, and from banking I moved to staffing, and there I had a question. Why? Walk me through your resume. And why do you think you are a fit for a so the easiest story that I had is that my father was in railways personal department. My mother is a teacher. So I have a combination of learning and the HR. And that's the reason I want to be in staffing, because I think I am a combination of both and I'll be able to deliver. So please tie your story to the business needs. And finally, I got the job. Demonstrate 2 or 3 strengths to the position or which you choose. Whatever job profile that you think that you are applying for, it will have its own constraints, it will have its own challenges, and it will have its own problems. Please try and pre-identify those problems and demonstrate that you will be able to overcome these problems through this approach. How can you contribute to the company? This is how you can contribute to the company. Please do not include your personal or family information. Do not be political, which political do not be politically influenced, or do not pick a side. That's what my suggestion is. If at all the person sitting in front of you want to have a discussion on this, please go ahead and have a discussion, no problem. Create a 60-second sound bite. अपने आप को कभी रिकॉर्ड करके सुने. You will come to know that how you sound, and you will definitely, it will contribute to your introduction, right? So what are your strengths? Relate them to a job. Please relate them to a job, right? Hardworking, very good. दिन भर दीवार को हिलाया. At the end of the day, work done 0. Do you think that's hard work? No. So relate them to a job. Okay. Give examples of where you have demonstrated them. I told you, quantify. बताइए कि कहाँ पे आपने उनको use किया है. And how were they developed? Did they develop when you were a small baby? No. You have learned. You had your own experiences. वो बढ़ते आपको वो आया, and that's how you started utilizing it, right? That's how you started putting it work. What are your weakness? Admit that you have one. If at all you have one. If at all you have one, admit that you have one. Identify what are you doing to improve or learn from this weakness. I told you, we talked about it, right? Detail the result or time frame expected. कितने दिन में? So मेरे को खाना बहुत पसंद था. So by the way, I was 130 kilo guy, and I know that food was my weakness. And 8 months back, I decided that I am going to, shed weight. I'm going to get thin, and I'm going to work. But at every time, I had to decide a timeline, and I have to stand committed to it. So this was my weakness. But finally, I overcome that particular weakness, and finally, I'm much fitter what I used to be. So there is a timeline. You should always decide a timeline, and you should work on that particular timeline and improve day by day. And that's the approach that you should show during your interview. It's okay to have a weakness, but how you will overcome that plan you should have along with the timeline. Need more time? Good questions. Let me think about that a minute. So you are asking can you repeat that question, please? No one's ever asked. No, not required. Please don't do that. Okay. How to prepare for an interview? We discussed about research for the company. Review your resume. Prepare the star response. Guys, this approach is going to definitely help you in all the interviews. Please remember this star approach. If you have any questions, please think about the situation, right? Please think about the task. Please think about the action that you took, and finally, what are the results? If you can remember this, you will break any interview. Trust me. Prepare questions for the interviewer and prepare yourself. You should prepare questions for the interviewer. How can we prepare the questions for the interviewer? I can ask, boss, you are about to offer me a job. I am worried about my career progression. मेरे को ऐसा तो नहीं होगा ना, मेरा career progression क्या है? The easiest question of all is, can you please tell me something about my career progression? How would I grow in this company? What are my plans? You know, if they can ask you what are your 5 years plan, you can also ask them ना, मेरा तो plan ठीक है, अब अपना भी plan बताओ मेरे को, boss 5 साल का क्या है? It's okay to ask, no problem. It's good to ask rather they'll see that fine. बंदा थोक बजा के देख रहा है कि हाँ ठीक है, right? Review your resume. How you do your career goals aligns with the position that you are applying for? Do you have certain stories for each point on your resume? Anticipate questions. I generally anticipate questions. Rather, most of the people I have seen, most of the guys who are my interviewed, they are ready with their questions. So have mock interviews, and these are one of the things that we actually have included in our career programs. Mock interviews, and that is only, you can only win an interview and you can only gain confidence of cracking an interview if you prepare, right? The more you bleed in practice, the less you bleed in war. Prepare questions for the interview. The multiple areas that you can consider are corporate values. What are the responsibilities that you can anticipate? What are the employment trends? People ask what is the attrition ratio, right? Measure of work performance, how you will measure my work performance. That even my team asks me, and sometimes I goof up, but it's okay. It's a good team. Work environment, right? Quality of work, personality factors. These are few things that you can certainly demonstrate your knowledge of the industry and company. So fine, if my company, your company is working on this tool, but that company is working on that tool. They are your competitors. They are at that state. What are you doing to improve that? You can certainly ask, because at the end of the day, you are going to give your, heart, soul, energy, everything there. That is good. So you should be worried about that, and you should ask questions. Always thank them for the interview. If you are done with the interview, please thank them for the interview. It doesn't matter. Sometimes even the thanking, does the job. Clarify if they haven't told you next steps. Please do ask them that what should I do? Should I wait for this? Please do take a feedback. This is something that we don't do. Done with the interview. Okay, thank you. We never ask then how should we go about it further? Should I expect a call, or is something? Most of the people, sometimes it happens, the HR will get back to you. Fine, the HR will get back to me. Can you please tell me maybe in a couple of days or something? You have to be polite. You can remain polite and you can ask for a timeline. See, it shows the seriousness towards the job and the likeness and desire that you have to be in that particular role. Okay. And with you are looking forward to hearing from you, then you really enjoy talking to them. These are basic good talks that you can do. You can talk to anyone. Jitna acha bolenge utna acha hai, right? So always thank them basically. And whatever, howsoever the interview was, kaisa bhi raha ho, this is not the end of the world, right? You will have many such opportunities, and there are people who will cross paths. तो कभी ना कभी कोई ना कोई हमेशा मिलेगा. So stay confident, stay rich, and then certainly take it ahead. Prepare yourself. Apna appearance matters the most, right? Do not be overdressed. Three-piece suit is not required, but business formals are good, right? It depends on the type of interview that I'm about to go for. Firm handshake, eye contact that we discussed, smile appropriately and nod. Sometimes, see, the art of speaking is good. You are a good speaker, good, but the art of listening plays a major role. You have to be a good listener. So please be that. Be confident. Finally, be neatly dressed, be genuinely interested in the opportunity if you are. And if you are not, then there is no point wasting your time and the interviewer's time and the company's time. Be on time, and if getting late, please inform well in advance. Please do that. Candidates don't do it. Please don't do it. I have only seen one company who do not entertain a candidates, who do not entertain the candidates or after a particular point of time, or rather, let's say 10 o'clock, the gate closes. Even if you have a gate pass, that is TCS. I have seen they are very strict in terms of timings. Straight, quantifiable answers. Please be straight. If you know, no. If you know, that's okay. Please be and try and quantify. Mention only the points in your resume that you can answer at 2 a.m. Why I have mentioned this line? You should be comfortable with your resume. अगर रात को आपको 2 बजे कोई उठा के बोले ना कि बॉस ये क्या है, तो आप बोल सको, right? है ना? If somebody asks you, if somebody says Padma, you will say Vati. So because you are comfortable with that. So prepare, and that will only happen because of when you practice. Don't bluff and stop beating. Please understand the person who is interviewing you, वो घाट घाट का पानी पी के आया. He knows, he has seen the world better than you. He has come across you people बहुत ज़्यादा. So he is experienced. Okay, so don't bluff. There is no point in bluffing, and stop beating around the bush. Straight answers. Do not be very straight so that it will pierce his or her heart. Please don't do that. Be politely safe. Please be polite and straight answers. Learn to talk and ask questions. Please learn to talk. Talk that makes sense. Okay, you can talk about the feedback. You can talk about the general world. You can talk about something that shows interest, something that make them believe that you are interested in that. And ask questions that you genuinely feel. Please ask questions that you genuinely feel. Rather, before going for an interview, I would suggest it's good that you write down a couple of questions that you generally feel you need to ask, and by once you are done with the interview, you can certainly ask them that, do you have some time to spare? I have a couple of questions. I would be really great if you can answer them, and then you can certainly ask your questions. Okay. Preparation will save you unnecessary pressure. Even today, when I have to take this PPT, we prepare. Even this workshop that we prepared, although we have spent a good time in this particular domain, in this particular industry, but still we prepare. So please prepare. Okay. There is no substitute to technical interview. If you are in a technical world, there is no substitute to that. You only have to practice and prepare. That is only possible. That is only done. Work on your salary expectations. Your demand should be reasonable. Ask about the career progression, which most of the people they don't do. Please ask about your career progression. How will my career proceed, or how will it progress? Speak to references before going for the interview. Carry two sets of tidy resumes. Always carry two sets of tidy resumes along with a cover letter if possible, and be ready with a pen or a pencil. Have that. Turn off your mobile. Um, this is a big people tend to spend a lot of time on mobile. Even before going for the interview, they kill some time on mobile. If possible, please don't do that. It will make you focus on your interview. It's a big day, it's a big thing that you are about to and take a step further. Please concentrate on that. Wear formals and have a positive body language. Please wear formals and always have a positive body language. क्या होगा, सब अच्छा होगा. So that's all I have for today. I hope that I have been able to. I understand it's a bit generic session, but due to the time limitation and considering the agenda over a period of 5 days, we have tried to cover a few things from every set of information or knowledge that is required to be a successful clinical trial data analytics professional. And we have just tried to have a touch upon on all the topics. So that's it for today. And maybe if you have any questions, we can certainly answer them. If you have any questions that needs to be answered right now, we can answer them. Or maybe you can write your questions to learning at the rate kite AI technologies, kite AI, learning at the rate kiteai.com. Right. So I see a couple of questions here. Nikhil, certainly, yes, you can get these PPTs and presentations. We are going to share it with you if in case you have registered for a paid participation. Abhishek, customizing in resume is right. I'm asking you to customize, Abhishek. I'm not saying to fake the information or to bluff. Customizing is different, and copying and faking is different. Customizing means that, for an example, if I have to uh, if I have to, let's take a example right now. For an example, if I have to go from Mumbai to Pune, right? And if I get a flight, probably I will not take anything with me, and I'll have limitations in terms of the baggage I should have. But if I have to take a train, then I have to be prepared for that, right? I can have more baggage with me. So what I'm doing, I'm customizing as per the path I have to take. So customizing is right, but faking and bluffing is not right. Certainly, it's not right, right? Then why pairing is performed in randomized controlled trials? Does different pair receive different drugs?
Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is Gayatri, and I can see Smita asked one question related to clinical research. Why pairing is performed in randomized control trials? Does different pair receives different drugs? So, answering to that, here is my answer. Mainly randomized clinical trials, it's an experiment, and there are different groups actually. So considering those groupism, in randomized trial, there are three things like active drug, then we have a placebo, then we have a test drug, and in that we actually do some shuffling. Okay, so there are few trials like randomized trial, then crossover designing, match pair, then stratification, withdrawal trial, factorial design. So in all this trial, basically we do some changes. Let's say in parallel randomized trial, we give two different drugs, considering two groups. Okay, let's say A group is receiving active drug or B group is receiving some placebo, and they are going to complete all the clinical trial tenure basically, and then crossover we do vice versa. So it is totally depends on the which basically classification they are considering during clinical trial randomization. That's it. So the second question I can see about Nikita. She's asking me about what is randomization and SOPs. So randomization is a process basically. As I said, subject mainly they are receiving a therapeutic drug or a treated drug or identical drug as per the randomized, or you can say identical manner. And SOPs are standard operating procedures which we need to follow wherever we conduct clinical research during clinical trial, considering good clinical practices. So there is one more question. Wasim is asking: someone have 3 years education gap, and after completion of a course 1 year gap, can he get a job? Piyush, over to you.
Yes. So, Wasim, see, someone has 3 years education gap. The first thing that I would like to ask is that why gap? Is this a gap due to some preparation, or due to some circumstances, or you were preparing for something? See, whatever the thing is, the gap is not the problem. It is never a problem if you have a gap. The problem basically while hiring is that what you did during that gap. For an example, somebody who has a 80 KT could not finish the course on time. It got extended by 1 year, it got extended by 2 years. That's fine. But what you did to overcome that particular gap, even if someone preparing for competitive exams did not, choose to be a part of the corporate, did not get an opportunity, did not get interviewed. So one thing, the first thing that you need to do is need to be very realistic, and number two is that how you are overcoming that. Now you want to be a part of corporate. What you have done? Do you have those skills that the corporate needs at this point of time, or the industry needs at this point of time? If you have those skills and you have proper experience, then certainly this gap is not going to be a problem for you. So to answer your question, 3 years education gap, at times it may be a challenge, but yes, certainly if you have done something that is required in the industry, then certainly it is not going to be a challenge, because at the end of the day it's the skill that is in demand. I could see one more. Sandesh Kadam has written that what are the opportunities for life sciences graduates for SAS programmers domain, as most of the openings are for experienced people. So Sandesh, that's not true. That's not true. Probably you are making a judgment out of the postings that are being done on different job portals, but that's not the case, because I personally myself have placed candidates, or I have interacted wherein the freshers are in demand, and particularly people who belong to B Pharma and M Pharma. So yes, there is. See, please understand, when we talk about clinical trial data analytics or clinical SaaS programmers, there is a word that is written clinical, and clinical means that it's a domain. And for domain, you need to, if you have an understanding about the domain, you will excel in this particular job profile. So certainly, the pharma graduates or postgraduates or people belonging to life science have demand in this particular. The only thing they need to do is have some practical exposure and have the tool oriented knowledge or the technical knowledge, and they will certainly have an established career. About the jobs for the experience, there are jobs for freshers also, there are jobs for experience also. Most of the openings that you see are on the job portals are for experienced, but not for freshers, but there are job openings for freshers as well.
Right. I can see one more question. Smita is asking that in phase 4, the drugs are being studied on a larger subject. So do they have to fill any consent form, or they need to understand, because if there are any adverse side effects, who will be the responsible? So Smita, this is really good question. By the way, I believe you have attended my first day session about clinical research. In that, I'll clear one thing, that phase 4 studies are basically studies when we do the drug launching in the market. So these studies look at the drugs that have already been approved by FDA. Okay, that means drug comes into the market in phase 4, and then all doctors, they start prescribing those drug on the larger group. And considering the side effects, yes, this is true, because some of the drugs are there in the market, and we have to keep watch on their side effects. If any side effects occur, then through pharmacovigilance team, they actually do some research on that data. Okay, we are getting data again in phase 4 trial, and based on their clinical trial data analysis, then FDA take a final decision about the drug, whether we want to continue that drug in the market, or we have to ban the drug. Okay, so there is separate group, that is pharmacovigilance. Okay, so I hope I have answered the question.
I could see one more question from Khushbu. I'm currently working in centralized monitoring department. We remotely handle clinical trials and very much interested in switching my job role in SaaS field. Can you guide me about? Certainly, Khushbu, the contact number is mentioned on the screen. You can also reach out to our website, because this is a question we would like to understand your job profile and your expectations in terms of a job first, and then certainly we will be able to help you, rather guide you in terms of building a successful profile in clinical trial data analytics. So Khushbu, you can certainly visit our website, or you can even mail us or reach out on the number mentioned here on the screen. Other than SaaS, which tool, Arvind is asking, other than SaaS, which tool training will help you to get a job for a pharmacy graduate? There are many tools. You can learn as many as tools you want, but at the end of the day, it's the tool that is in demand that will help you to fetch a job, particularly in clinical trial data analytics. So certainly SaaS will help, but you should not limit yourself to only the tool that is being used at present, or that was used, or that has been used for a period of time. There is a significant work which is being done in terms of using other tools also. The industry is working on, checking the capabilities of other tools like R, Python also, in terms of doing getting the same output as in terms of SaaS. So a lot of work is being done. I would suggest it's not about learning a tool. Rather, in my earlier PPTs also, I said that you should not limit to a particular tool. You should learn multiple tools. That's way you will have multiple acceptance in the industry. Please tell me more about paid internship program. Pratima, I would suggest you to please reach out on this number, or you can visit our website, because again, we would like to see what exactly your background is all about and what are your thoughts in terms of building a career in this particular field. And then certainly we will be able to help you with your queries. Shantanu, how can SaaS be applicable in regulatory field? Software has its own way of working. It has its own usage. Not everywhere, every tool is being used. Regulatory field, certainly it can be used. Rather, You can check wherever there is data and you have to do predictive analysis or analytics. SAS can be used, but primarily it is being used in terms of clinical trial data analytics. Please tell me career in preclinical research as a pharma fresher. Pallavi, you can reach out to this number on this number 73855 or you can reach out on our website. And again, I'm suggesting because in terms of career, it's important to know what you are interested in, where your career profile suits, and what are your where is your heading and what course you should take. So I would request to please our website or reach out on the numbers that is being highlighted here on the screen. Sairaj, I want to know that information about public health profiles for biostatistics. You can certainly again visit our website or reach out on the numbers, Sairaj, because this is something that will take a bit of a time to be discussed about. Because when we are talking about PHP, we are talking about public health profiling systems in biostatistics. It is something that we will need to have comprehend to statistical knowledge part of it. I'm a fresher. I'm facing lots of problems. Nikita, I pray that you overcome all your problems and freshers will have a good time coming in future. And it's the time that when you are going to have an established career, only thing what you need to do is you need to gain the skills or you need to acquire the skills that are being used in the industry. Some are free, some are paid, but it's up to you what to decide. Experienced pharmacovigilance associate Abhijit is an experienced pharmacovigilance associate. Does his experience will be counted for need to start as a fresher in SES? You are an experienced Abhijit. You are an experienced pharmacovigilance associate. Good. So that means you have a good domain knowledge. You already understand the terminologies. But when you start as a fresher SES, yes, you are going to start as a fresher, but you will not start as a complete fresher because at the end of the day, even when you are performing SaaS or you are performing any clinical data analytics actions, it is you are going to work on the data sets that belong to clinical fields, right? So probably you will have a bit of an advantage, and that can be actually taken into consideration while you are switching your career to the SaaS field. Right. So I think these all are the questions, and I hope I have been able to answer them. And guys, if you have any questions, if you feel that there is anything in terms of your career, in terms of the opportunity, in terms of the progression, if you feel you have any questions, please do not hesitate. My faculty has always said, जब ज्ञान फ्री का हो तो हमेशा ले लेना चाहिए, और जब सलाह फ्री की हो तो हमेशा सोचना चाहिए. So सलाह ले लीजिए, आपको सोचने में मदद करेगा. So please do write to us at learning@kiiti.com. Whatever questions you have, please do not hesitate to ask, and we will certainly make sure that we'll reply you at earliest. The maximum turnaround time that I can suggest is 48 hours from now. So that's all from my side, and I wish you all the best, all of you, all the best. Swasth raho, mast raho, zabardast raho, be safe, take care of yourself, your parents, your friends, your family, your neighbors, right? We are very soon going to overcome this tough, challenging time. Thank you so much. Take care. Gayatri, do you have any closing comments?
Yeah, thank you so much, everyone, for participating. In this event. I hope this is useful for you for your career guidance, and wish you all the best. Thank you so much.